So here again, returning to this diagram here, so we see there's the foramen magnum, spinal cord, ends at L1 as the conus medullaris, terminal phylum continues downward, and then if you look closely, you can see the three layers. So the pia mater is on top of, covering the spinal cord. I did not draw it here, but it's here. And you can see these very dark structures, these are the spinal nerves coming out of the spinal cord and to the rest of the body. Between the spinal nerves, here you can see these triangular shape like structures. See this? There, here, here, here. These are the denticular ligaments, extensions of pia mater that anchor the spinal cord to the dura mater. Okay, so this layer, which is this one here, I kind of like opened it, like you slice it and you open it. This and here, this is the dura mater. I did not include the arachnoid matter here, so you can imagine there would be arachnoid matter here in the subarachnoid space, is all of this space here. Okay, so this is the denticular ligament, spinal nerves, spinal cord, pia mater on top of it, and arachnoid matter, you can pretend there is one more layer here, arachnoid matter, and this is the dura mater, split open to show the attachment of the denticular ligament to the dura mater. You can see here that the spinal cord ends at L1. However, the dura mater, spinal dura mater, continues downward. Okay, it does not end at L1. Only the spinal cord ends. The spinal dura mater continues. It actually doesn't end here too. This diagram is not very showing accurately, but this dura mater, spinal dura mater, continues all the way down to S2. Here you can see C1, L1 end of the spinal cord as conus medullaris, terminal phylum in the center. This is the dura mater. Spinal dura mater ends at S2. Okay, and that is the subarachnoid space. And you can imagine the denticular ligaments between these adjacent spinal nerves. Now, one more thing here. See this structure here. These are spinal nerves. In here, because they're spinal cord, the spinal nerves emerge like so, like in an organized fashion. However, because the spinal cord ends here, it ends at L1 or L2. But there are still spinal nerves that have to supply all the areas below L1. You know, L2, L3, L4, L5, S1, S2, S3, S4, S5. So there's 10 more spinal nerves at least that have to emerge from this little conus medullaris. 10 more. So you can see they have to kind of all squish up together in order to emerge. Okay, so because they all squish up like this, it kind of looks like a tail, like a horse's tail, and that's why they call it the coda equina. Okay, that's this. Only this area here is called the coda equina. Now we look at the structure of the spinal cord in closer view. The spinal cord itself. So this is the spinal cord. This is cut, and you look what's in there, inside of it. So you see this area around is the white area. That's called the white matter. And then the dark part in center looks like an H or a butterfly. That's the gray matter. White matter, gray matter. And in the center is a little opening. Usually it closes by adulthood. Central canal. Okay, now there are a bunch of grooves in the spinal cord. So this is looking at it from the front view, anterior view, and that's the back, posterior. Because this is the anterior, we say this is anterior median fissure. Fissure and sulcus, they both mean grooves. Fissure is a deep groove, sulcus is not a very deep groove. So this is a deep groove. So this is anterior median fissure, anterolateral, anterior and a bit to the lateral, anterolateral sulcus, anterior median fissure, anterolateral sulcus, posterior median fissure, posterolateral sulcus. The posterior portion also has another sulcus here called the posterior intermediate sulcus. We will see that later. But at the moment, just know here, anterior posterior median fissures, anterolateral posterolateral sulci. From the anterior, from the anterolateral sulcus emerge the rootlets. These are the nerves coming out from the spinal cord. From the anterolateral sulcus comes out the anterior rootlets. Anterior rootlets. From the posterior posterolateral sulcus comes out the posterior rootlets. So rootlets is plural, root is singular.